Excuse me, mate, why are you? What do you mean? What do you mean? I mean, what is the meaning of your question? The meaning of existence is the meaning of my question? No, I'm asking you what the meaning of your first question was. The meaning of you. Oh, so you do know the meaning of me? No, that's what I'm asking you. What is the meaning of existence? Oh. Yeah, that question doesn't make any sense. How come? Well, what exactly are you asking me? Are you asking me what my name means? No, I'm asking you what you mean, what existence itself means. I mean that I am. The meaning of existence is that it is. Yes, but why is existence? Why are you? I could ask you the same. Well, I exist because my parents reproduced. That doesn't explain why your parents exist. I could just keep asking why to all of your responses all the way back to the Big Bang, at which point you'll essentially be saying, because existence began, to which I will ask, why did existence begin, and we will have arrived back at square one. So I'll ask again, why are you? I exist to bring my future children into this world. Ah, but here we have the same issue again, just in the opposite direction. I can keep asking why until we get to the inevitable heat death of the universe, and you'll run out of answers. That's exactly the issue though, that's why I'm asking. There's no meaning to any of it looking backwards, it's accidents all the way back, and there's no meaning to any of it looking forwards, it all comes to an end. So that settles it then, that's your answer, that it's all for nothing. Both ends of the thread of time are loose and all you have to do is pull and the whole damn thing unravels back to the present moment. And there's no real point in getting out of bed in the morning, no point in having kids, my parents gave birth to me for no reason at all, and it's all for nothing. You're so smart that you're dumb. What? You want to know what it's all for, but your linear mind won't accept a circular answer, and yet you ask a circular question. What's it all for? It can't all be for something else, because then you wouldn't have been talking about it all, would you? Your question cannot be answered without referring to something within your expression, it all. For even if I did give you an answer that referred to something outside of it all, like heaven for instance, as soon as its existence was an established fact, it would be contained within the expression, it all. And since you're so set on rejecting circular answers, you would reject that answer too and ask, okay, but what's heaven for? The fact that you're yet to discover the meaning of life is not evidence that there isn't any, just evidence that you're terrible at asking the question. You condemn me for answering the question with existence means that it is, and yet when I ask you the same question, you go looking for answers in the past that no longer exists, then you go looking for answers in the future which doesn't exist yet, and then conclude that it's all for nothing, as if you had looked everywhere. You forgot to look in the present, you idiot, the only place that actually exists. And since your question pertained to the nature of existence, I'm almost inclined to believe you don't even want existence to mean anything. It's as if you're intentionally avoiding the issue by running off into the past or into the future and acting surprised when you return empty-handed, carrying none of the meaning of existence that you were supposedly looking for. Why on earth would I intentionally avoid finding answers? Because maybe there's nothing you find scarier than the thought that all of existence is here simply for the sake of itself, and perhaps if nothing means anything, then everything is permitted. And why would I find that first bit scary? Because when you don't like the state of things, for example the state of having lost a loved one, or burning your toast when you're already late to work, the idea that things are in that state simply for the sake of existence puts you at odds with existence itself. The friend of an enemy is an enemy. The soup of life arrives unblended, and you've made a habit of throwing the bowl from the table when you get a bite of something that you don't like. And what about all that the meaning is in the present shit you were just saying? How can that be true if the present is always changing? Remember, I told you the meaning of existence is that it is. And what's the one thing that never changes about the present moment? The fact that it is. That it exists. And how am I supposed to find meaning in that? I ask you what it's all for, and whether you say it's all for every reason, it's all for no reason at all, or it's all for its own sake, hardly makes a difference to me. I still feel lost. What I want is for it all to be for a single, unifying reason. I want a grand narrative, I want a triumphant ending, I want fireworks and explosions and eternal redemption, not for all of existence to be an accident that simply fizzles out and dies a whimpering death. Yes, you want the suffering of today to be justified by the joy of tomorrow, But your science told you that on a long enough time frame, everything dies, and so you can't justify the suffering of today. Like you say, you want a triumphant ending and eternal redemption. You want to be aware of some grand narrative today into which your suffering reasonably fits, so that you don't feel like it's for nothing. You want solid ground, not an ocean of doubt. That's why you look to the past and to the future for meaning, because you're in search of a grand narrative on which to ground yourself, one that's always been active and will continue to be active forever. Exactly, and since the beginning of life was accidental, and the end of all life is certain, there can't possibly be a grand narrative to which my existence is relevant. I have no purpose beyond myself. But you're wrong. There is a grand narrative. You just can't see the big picture, and I mean that quite literally. Also, you say that in millions of years nobody will remember you, and therefore everything you do today will be irrelevant a million years from now. But if what you do today will be irrelevant a million years from now, then why should a million years from now be relevant to what you do today? All due respect, sir, you're a relatively primitive talking monkey. You see things linearly, in terms of beginnings and endings, and you don't quite understand the significance of happenings. You say that you're born, there's stuff in the middle, and then you die. But this is a child's perspective. In reality, you just happen, and you really do happen. I'm getting the sense that I won't ever understand your answers. Can you present the truth in a way that humans would understand, so that we can stop feeling that it's all for nothing? And please focus on this grand narrative you speak of. Sure, consider this. The elements of life, happiness, sadness, pain, loss, food, sleep, love, burnt toast, laughter, they're each like individual threads, and they each have a slightly different colour, and, as you know, some are much darker than others. In a single human life, all these billions of threads miraculously converge. They flirt and dance with each other, they intertwine and form the most beautiful patterns that you call stories. The ultimate story of your life is the string woven from these billions of threads, and at the end of your life that string unravels itself, and the threads part ways. It was life that brought them together and up to the surface. In your current state, you can only see your string in its entirety, and you may have put lots of effort into making sure that it's a certain colour in the final analysis. So the fact that it unravels causes you distress. You think linearly in terms of beginnings and endings, so you want your creation to last. You want your string to be endless, but just as your threads interweave horizontally to form the unique colour of the string of your life, that uniquely coloured string then interweaves vertically with the strings of others, the people you meet, and when it does, the colour of both is forever changed. You are all weavers, and you create your string because you want it to last, but here's what you miss. It does last. Space and time are not separate, you figure this out yourselves. A moment is not endless, but it is eternal. You cannot measure the length of a moment, it's immeasurable because it's eternal. You weave the string of your life because you want it to be endless, and sure, both ends of it are unravelled, but the string itself has interwoven with thousands of other strings. So while the string has loose ends, its centre does not come undone because of this. Zoom out and an entire tapestry emerges, painting a portrait with patterns more beautiful and intricate than your single human mind could ever imagine or perceive. Before the threads of your string converged, they were hidden underneath the tapestry, and after they unravel, they go back under. But none of that matters, does it? What matters is the tapestry, and this sense of insignificance of yours, how deceitful is that sense? Granted, if you were to decide to unravel your thread right now, you would forever darken the tapestry. But that's the thing. You'll not have died, you will have lived. Your string will still remain within the magnum opus of the universe itself. You will not have removed your string from the universe's self-portrait, only cut it short. And, short as it may be, it will remain. But don't for a second think you could remove your string entirely, for without your string, the entire tapestry would come undone. It would sabotage that to which existence itself is moving, and you wonder why you don't get to choose whether or not to be born. You didn't stumble into existence by chance, you weren't the recipient of an open invite. You were drafted, because you are necessary to the entire enterprise of existence itself. This tapestry is a portrait? Of who? God, the universe, existence, whatever you want to call it. It's creating a self-portrait. One that a single mind could never comprehend, and even if it could, it definitely wouldn't remind a human of any self-portrait they've seen before. But since the tapestry is the weaver, it's giving birth to itself. But I'll never get to see it, so how is this relevant to me? So the ultimate painting to which your every experience serves as a brushstroke isn't relevant to you, but the heat death of the universe is? I did not know your confusion reached such depths. To answer your question, it's relevant to you because it is you. You are one of its many limbs. Imagine your finger was to question its relevance to your hand, or your hand to question its relevance to you. In medical terms, you call that cancer. And you say that you'll never see the whole tapestry, but how can you be so sure? Sorry, what was your name again? Adam. Well, it may be true that Adam might never see the tapestry, but how do you know that Adam is all that you are? The belief that you are Adam is only a partial truth. At the same time, you experience Adam, so you are the experiencer too. And the experiencer experiences every experience, the whole tapestry. And while it may be hard for Adam to see that, after all, Adam is but one string in a tapestry of trillions, it's nevertheless true. It's all inseparable. There is not two. You are everyone, but you only experience yourself one at a time. Well, I certainly don't consider myself to be outside of the universe, and that does seem to align with what we know about physics, but still, as Adam, I want to see this tapestry that supposedly justifies all the dark threads in my string, and yet I'm fated to never be able to. If the universe is really creating a self-portrait, why is it necessary to go about it in such a way that leaves its participants in the dark? Well, firstly, it's not true that you do not see the tapestry. True, you just see one string at a time, for now at least, but the amalgamation of all that you've seen is the tapestry. Secondly, faith is one of the brightest threads in existence, one of the universe's proudest achievements, and if it were not for unfaith, or the absurd, as philosophers call it, a thread which is opposite in colour, then faith would never stand out in the tapestry. I see, but why is faith so necessary? To avoid exactly the kind of predicament you found yourself in. You lack faith in the intrinsic value of both your string and existence itself, and so you go looking for it. You analyze your string looking backwards, you analyze it looking forwards, and you return empty-handed. That is your punishment for growing so arrogant as to assume that the meaning of the tapestry could or should be comprehended by a single string such as yourself. You weave a linear, horizontal string. All you can do is look backwards and forwards, and since you break current eggs to make future omelettes, you assume the same of the tapestry. It all must exist to bring about something other than itself. It's why you couldn't bear my answer. I mean that I am. No, you don't want the meaning of life. You want the meaning of life that you can understand. Sorry, all good things come at a cost. It's one of the many stylistic choices of the artist. And meaning is priced in faith, a currency that went out of circulation amongst your kind long ago. But faith in what? The weaver of the tapestry, and the intrinsic goodness of the whole enterprise. You mean I need to believe that it's all being guided by some intelligent entity? The weaver, as you call it. I need to believe in God, basically. You don't have to call it God. I know God's been having some PR issues amongst your lot recently. You could call it the laws of physics if that's more high fashion. Both phrases aim at the same target and both miss the mark, so take your pick. But the laws of physics aren't intelligent. Are you intelligent? I'd like to think so, yes. Are you outside of the laws of physics? No. Then the laws of physics are intelligent. Well, good point. I guess I am kind of the laws of physics in action. But what about the second element, the faith in the value of the tapestry, the goodness of the whole enterprise? When you look at a beautiful sunset, you value it, but not because it helps you achieve some goal in the future. You value it immediately, for itself, right? Yes. Well, when you doubt the intrinsic value of existence, you look for it not as you would a sunset or a beautiful painting, but as a tool. What's it all for, you ask? What higher purpose does it serve? like a monkey being handed the Mona Lisa and trying to use it to crack open a nut. Life is not a stepping stone you use to get somewhere else, or an arcade ticket you use to redeem for something better. So long as you see it that way, you will forever torture yourself needlessly with the question, what is the meaning of life? It was never science that destroyed your faith and meaning, it was your own intellectual pride, for if you hadn't seen your scientific discoveries through such arrogant eyes, they would certainly have emboldened your faith that the weaver was indeed creating a tapestry that was, as you say, worth it, and as a result you'd consider it a privilege to be involved. You seem kind of annoyed at us. Well, yeah, you are quite rude to me. Your lives are tricky, I get it. You rarely know what you're up to, and so you obsessively sting yourself with the question, what am I doing? Which evolves into, why am I here? And as your beloved Nietzsche said, stings of conscience teach one to sting. Eventually, you put me in your sights, asked me why I am, and began to doubt my fundamental goodness. And as you know, it's not nice to be the recipient of such doubts. I thought it was the tapestry's fundamental goodness that we were guilty of doubting. Yes, I am the tapestry. I see. And we are a part of you that has renounced your relevance to us. Precisely. Just as cells in your body sometimes renounce your relevance to them. So what should we do? Know that you are me, just as the branch is the tree and the wave is the ocean. Thus understand that you experience all that has been, is being, or will ever be experienced, and act accordingly. That's kinda ludicrous though. I'm not the universe, I'm Adam. Then that is just how you will remain. For a time at least, until Adam unravels. And then you'll have to face the music.